In this video, I want to walk you through some video content ideas for your business that are super easy to get started with and are pretty original, I think, coming up. What's going on, everybody? My name is Karim Mustafa. I'm co-founder and CEO of Tribe Tactics. And in this video, I basically want to give you some ideas on, how you can actually start to create your own video content for your business, especially if you're just starting out, or rather, whether you're only, just starting out, or whether it's something that maybe you've already tried your hand at and you're really looking for something fresh to switch things up. Maybe your industry, everyone is kind of doing like the same old like webinar, the same old stuff, and you're really trying to freshen things up and to get more fresh ideas with video. Because here's the thing, like imagine someone gives you a piece of paper and tells you, hey, draw something, anything. It's actually a lot harder to do than you think, as opposed to someone giving you a paper and saying, hey, draw a picture of a house. It still opens up room for creativity, but the fact that it is limited makes it a lot easier for you to start coming up with ideas. And that's what I hope to give you today. Basically, just some ideas on how you can start to really come up with your own unique concepts as such. So without further ado, I want to open this up over here and we can dive right in. So the first thing you can come up with, actually before any of this, one thing I want to say is that one of the things that you could really keep in mind in any content idea for video that you decide to do is this concept of juxtaposition. It's almost like, I don't want to say a recipe for success, but it's definitely a trend that when things are interesting, it's usually because they're juxtaposing something, taking something that's very very casual and making it like playfully very formal, or taking something that's very formal and making it very playful on purpose. Taking something that everyone would have thought is a certain way and you flip it on its head and you do something different. So keep this concept of juxtaposition in mind as we go through these ideas. The first one is none other than coming up with your very own video podcast series. So podcasts are classically an audio first platform, but especially because of COVID and everyone kind of going into remote work, what we're seeing right now is that there's a huge shift towards people who were already doing podcasts to starting to do more video podcasts, essentially by just filming themselves while they're doing the conversations. But beyond that as well, it's an amazing way to get an endless supply of content ideas as you continue to go episode by episode, because it's not just you that have to come up with the content, rather you're doing it perhaps with a guest as such. So video podcasts are great, and there's a lot of different ideas maybe that may come to mind once you start thinking of video podcast and the different angles that you can take. And again, going back to the concept of juxtaposition, the way I would apply that here is looking at how you can take things like let's say concepts that are like an elephant in the room, like elephant in the room topics for your industry, something that everybody's aware of but no one really wants to talk about. Well, hey, maybe this could be your opportunity to really build a compelling video series for your business around that. Another thing that comes to mind as well is doing something that is particularly laid back, especially if you're in B2B, or if you're in an industry where everyone is, used to being like super formal and super like, suit and tie. This could be your opportunity to be like, hey guys, like we're all human. Let's just call it what it is. Let's just do, a laid back series, basically, in the form of a video podcast where you're bringing in people onto your show and you're really setting the tone that this is, raw and uncut and very relaxed as such. Okay, cool. I think I've covered that point plenty, so I'm going to move on to the next one. The next one is something that you can actually do by yourself, but you could also add an extra layer to it if you do decide to bring guests on board, and that's kind of like a lessons learned series. So if you are working in marketing and you are, or if you're, a business owner yourself, try and find, I mean, this is going to be different for your case depending on what stage you're at and who you are watching this video, but try and figure out who would be the best person to host something like this. It could be you if you're the business owner. It could be somebody who is like a lead in your department, or a director in your department, or you'll be able to fill in the blanks here hopefully. but doing a series around whoever this person is, or maybe a series of people, and what they've learned over time pertaining to the topic that you're looking to cover. So if you are selling, for example, like a productivity tool that helps, let's say, I'm just making this up, but let's say helps people have meetings, like more effective meetings. Actually, I'm thinking of a specific example now. One of the things that you could do is really looking at how you could create a lessons learned series of like all the ways like not to run a meeting, you know what I mean, so that other people could benefit from it. It's actually quite similar to this. Like these are all things that we've learned with time, and we're recording this video so that hopefully it doesn't take you as much time to come across these conclusions. So coming up with a lessons learned series could be a great one. Another one that you could do, which is a little bit playful, is doing a reaction video series. By the way, the thing that you'll notice is in common with all of these is the fact that they're all parts of series. They're ongoing. This is a great way to help save you time from not having to like come up with a great idea but then back to square one, great idea back to square one. Rather, over here you're really investing your time once up front to just create a framework or a concept for an ongoing show, and all you got to do is just come up with ideas for different episodes, week in and week out as such, or month in and month out, depending on the cadence that you're thinking of. But reaction series are awesome because you can think of it as you almost being like a news reporter, and sharing pieces of news around the latest in your industry, and then not just stopping at that, but actually giving your commentary, your own brand's personality, your own stance on things. And this really makes it a lot relatable for people, because I mean, you know this already, but like if you're building a brand, you can no longer just watch by from the sidelines. You really have to get in on the action, and you really have to have, what I mean by that is you really have to have a point of view on everything. Naturally, not everyone is going to agree with it, but the people who do agree with it, who are ideally your audience, you're going to find them gravitating to that content more than anything else. So reaction video series are definitely a great one. One more thing that I'm going to leave you with is coming up with a documentary series. So documentary series are amazing if you can pull it off, and it doesn't have to be as fancy as what you're thinking. There's a very easy way to create a documentary series using things that you have lying around, such as using Zoom, using your smartphones. And basically, when it comes to documentary series, one of the things that you could do here is you can actually start off with a golden question. So something that is piquing your curiosity as a personal brand, as a business. And then essentially you set off on an adventure, on a quest to meet people who could help you find an answer to this question. So this is a true story. Like I'm a very impatient person. I'm trying to get better at learning how to be patient. And I came up with this idea. I don't know if I'm gonna do it, but I might just do it, to do like a documentary series on patience. You know what I mean? And I don't need to be an expert in patience. I'm definitely not. But maybe just this initial like prompt, kind of like a writing prompt. You have this initial prompt, and based on that, you can start to have dialogues, conversations with people who've kind of like been there, done that. Maybe people who, I may come across people who've, suffered from the same thing as well. What did they find? What was the hardest part for them? Essentially, you're going on this journey, and towards the end, let's say it's a 10-part series. Towards the end, you end off with this big, conclusion or finale, where you really come to a summary of like what took place and what you've learned from it and what you're gonna do moving forward. And again, like documentaries will be different depending on what you have in mind and what would make most sense to you, and for your specific industry. But it's definitely a great one to look at. And yeah, there you have it. These are 4 great like video content ideas for business that you could really take and mold into what you need it to be for your specific use case. So hopefully this video was helpful, and I'll see you on the next one. Make sure to leave your comments below if you have any questions, or if you have any ideas on things that we can go into a bit deeper. That's how we keep these videos going. So looking forward to your feedback, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.